Yes, we did a video concerning the safe use of LPG yesterday and promised to come with another video uh, talking about how to handle LPG fires. In other words, fires involving LPG and its apparatus. Now, before we continue with that promise, there's the need for us to know the elements of fire so that we'll understand how fires can be stopped when they occur. So for that reason, today's video is entitled Elements of Fire. Now, the elements of fire are commonly understood as heat, fuel, and oxygen. These three elements come together in their right proportion to give us what is known as fire. These three elements are necessary for a fire to ignite and sustain itself. However, there are situations whereby there is a fourth element, and that fourth element is known as the chemical reaction, which is also considered essential for a fire's existence. Now, our interest is not on the fourth one. We are limiting this conversation to the three main elements, which are heat, fuel, and oxygen. Now, let's move into detail on each of the elements mentioned to know how they can produce or give us fire. Now, heat, as one of the first elements, is the energy that brings the fuel to its ignition temperature, allowing chemical reaction to begin. So, what this means is that any introduction of heat to combustible material or anything that can burn, then there will be fire. So in this regard, it doesn't necessarily have to be naked flames, but anything that produces heat. And so that is what we should take note of. Now the second element, which is fuel. Fuel here doesn't mean uh, petrol, diesel, or the fuel that you know. Fuel is the material, the combustibles that can easily burn. So fuel is the combustible material that reacts with the oxygen and heat to produce fire. So before there will be fire, heat alone cannot actually cause fire unless, of course, it comes into contact with combustible material such as papers, clothing, wood, whatever, anything at all that can burn is termed as fuel. And the oxygen, which is the last component, is a necessary oxidating agent that fuels the chemical reaction and combustion process. These two elements that we earlier on mentioned, heat and fuel, will not be enough to give you fire until there is an introduction of oxygen. However, these three elements must come together in their right proportion before you can have fire. So together, these elements form what is often called the fire triangle, or yes, the fire triangle, depending on whether the chemical reaction is included or not. However, if the chemical reaction, which is the fourth element, when added, then it is another term. but not the triangle. Like I said, the conversation is on the three elements. So these three elements coming together in their right proportion will give you fire or will produce fire. Now, how do you then cut away or better still extinguish fire? Now, we said the three elements must come together in their right proportion before you can get fire. So the elimination of any of the elements will automatically extinguish or stop the fire. So for instance, you have the fire burning. Now you take away the oxygen. What will aid the burning again? Automatically the fire will go off because the elements are not up. Or better still, you take away heat. Heat is what generates the burning or ignite the combustible material or the fuel. And so if you take away heat, again, the fire will go off. Or no, decide to take away the fuel. Already we all know before burning occurs, something must be there for the fire to burn. So take away that thing, which is the fuel. What else will you get? There wouldn't be fire. So understanding this will let us know how to handle LPG fires in the kitchen or wherever it is found. This is your safety ambassador. Remember, safety is a shared responsibility. Ensure the safety of your life, your property, and the environment you find yourself. Please like, comment, and share. Thank you.